we just see such good esteemed guests here. Let's just welcome them once again with huge round of applause. So we have heard such great speakers since morning, and of course our esteemed Prime Minister. But now it's a time where we explore the more human side, the more chatty side of these two esteemed guests that we have. So before we begin, I would just like to ask both of you a very simple question on the theme of soul. What is leadership to the two of you?
Um, Hi everyone, first of all. It's very nice being here. Um, and, uh, and yeah, leadership for me, from a sporting perspective, I can say that, for example, I mean, chess is an individual sport, but we do have team sports um, like in the Olympiad. And I found leadership as, being um, playing in the top board myself. It's not only about thinking about yourself. You do your best, but also uh, you think about the others. You show the way for the other people to follow, and just set a good example that others can look up. And that's what I think. Like what I have learned about leadership in sports is that.
Thank you.
First and foremost, I wanted to say congratulations and thank you to Hasmukh Bhai, to Sudhir Bhai, and to the entire board of Soul for the effort that they're putting in bringing this School of Leadership together. I remember in about 2007, then Chief Minister of Gujarat, Narendra Modi ji, said that मैंने सुना है आपका फाइनेंस में बिजनेस में इंटरेस्ट है आप वापस जाते जाते देखो मैं वहाँ पे गिफ्ट सिटी बना रहा हूँ. So I was in a hurry, as journalists always are when they're covering elections. I said, हाँ अगली बार देखनी से नहीं नहीं मेरे को वापस मत जाना आप जाके देखना है इसको. So anyway, so we went to what was supposed to be Gift City, and it was completely barren and there was nothing there, absolutely barren. And the officer who was tasked to speak to me said, यहाँ से नदी आएगी, यहाँ पे ऐसे हो. I said, नदी आएगी कहाँ से नदी? It's like all barren, marshy land. And over the years, he persevered, right? And now, as you go to Ahmedabad, I'm sure many of you have, you would see the magic that Hasmukh Bhai and the Prime Minister and everybody working on that project have created. I think that at some level, to come back to your question on leadership, is a reflection of setting an objective and then finding a path to be able to get there despite the odds. For many years, and so many people are sitting here, you would have heard the snide comments, the criticism कि पागल हो गए न्यूयॉर्क छोड़ के बॉम्बे छोड़ के कौन आएगा यहाँ पे तो कुछ भी नहीं है यहाँ तो अल्कोहल भी नहीं मिलती कोई बैंकर नहीं आके काम करेगा. But he just persevered. Now if you go there, you've got so many different real estate companies and banks from across the country. It's the one place where you've got an incredible amount of diversity of opinion altogether. I think that is in some ways, and since we are here at Seoul and this is going to be at the Gift City, reflective of just leadership. And as you grow in life, all of us, teams become more complex and it's just much tougher to get things done. So to me, leadership, a leader is really like a tree of life where people come to you with their questions and their concerns and you're able to show them the path and help them. You will never be so smart with all the innovations that are happening in artificial intelligence and everything else that's going on, to be able to answer every question yourself. How is it that you can just charge the people who come to you, direct them? And that's what Mr. Piramal and so many other people are so renowned for being able to do. Just show them the path, show them the objective and help them get there. That too, it's much more than doing things yourself. It's about helping people and facilitating things so they can go out and get it done.
Lovely. So it's more about showing the people, the team, the way, and so that they get it done entirely. And as we talk about the leadership qualities, and we have seen so many people here, there's one very common thing with every leader, with every successful leader, is that they tend to stay calm during stressful situations, right? Because be it chess or journalism, if one move goes wrong, I mean, the entire story just ends there. Right? So how do you both manage to stay calm in such situations, and does that affect your leadership?
Um, yeah, for sure. In chess, you need to be patient and calm. Um, in any sport at a very high level, the margin of error is very small, and the same in chess. And I think like there have been many examples of great players who couldn't make it make it to the very top because they were not able to manage their emotions at the critical moments. And I think for me as well, when I was younger, I used to be very emotionally unstable, and like if I lose a game, I can't focus well on the next game, and if there's a very important game, I try to like I was just very impatient, and then I just thought about it, and some of my trainers recommended that I start some mindfulness practices and some meditation, stuff like that. After I did that, now I'm able to, like when my heart races in those critical moments, I'm able to be aware of that, and I'm able to calm myself down before I make a critical decision. So, yeah, it surely helps, and just being aware of what you're feeling and trying to just focus on the present moment is what has helped me.
Were you also calm when you won the championship?
Um,
Please say no.
no, I think I was trying to be calm. Like it's hard in such a high level situation. You do get affected by all the noise and all the pressure that there is. But I think I was mostly aware of what I was feeling, and I was aware that this is normal, and I just have to focus on the game. So yeah, just that awareness was, I think, quite high in that sense.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
You know, I have meditation music playing in my mind all the time. This is something I learned from Sachin Tendulkar. I asked him the same question, how do you stay calm? He just zones everything else out. So you zone out all distractions as you can. For example, when the Delhi election results were about to be counted, the couple of days before that, all the netas were going crazy, right? I don't want to name anybody, but whether it was BJP or Aam Aadmi Party, since so much was at stake, they were just screaming, shouting, getting angry. They were just very excited and charged up, and basically going crazy themselves and driving everybody else crazy. And I was just constantly just telling myself, हमारे लिए कुछ चेंज नहीं होने वाला, ये आपस में लड़ रहे हैं, ये भी जीतेंगे, उन्होंने भी गाली देनी है, वो भी जीतेंगे, उन्होंने भी गाली. So how do you just stay calm regardless of what's happening around you? So you stay focused on your objective, which is to try and go out and do the best that you can. And all the distraction around you, just try and zone out of it. It takes some time. It doesn't happen immediately. Like in cricket, they say it's about being in the zone. So as long as you're in the zone, you're having fun, you're focused on what you need to know, and everything else is just noise. You just let the noise be. You're in your bubble. You're going out and having fun. And that, to my mind, is over the years what I've learned the best way of dealing with stress. If you get agitated, ये जीत गया तो क्या होगा, वो जीत गया, आपका कुछ नहीं होगा, उन्हीं का होगा जो होगा. You just do your work and you do it as well as you can, and let them fight amongst themselves, right?
Lovely. So, one is staying calm, right, during tough situations. The other thing is, so there's a very big difference between staying calm during tough situations, and the other thing would be dealing with something like a failure, right? And I'm sure all of us here, and like हमसे ज़्यादा तो आप लोग ही, you must have dealt with so many failures, and then you've come to this pinnacle, right? And you've achieved this stage. So how do you deal with those? And what are the actual practical points that we can actually list down? And if someone would want to actually note it down, that tomorrow if they're facing a failure, how do they come back stronger?
Yeah, for me, failure has always um, been like a place where I can improve myself. Um, I, I mean, there is a famous saying in chess that, like, in general, we think, when things are not going well, that we are not doing the right things. But it doesn't always mean that. I mean, even when we are doing all the right things, sometimes the result is not in our control. So sometimes we fail. But as long as we know that we are working hard, we are being disciplined, and we are being honest with our work, the results, they come and go. So what's important is to focus on the process, and that's what I've been trying to do myself. For example, when I was trying to qualify for the candidates, I had a very rough patch, and that phase really helped me to, um, like I keep thinking to myself, if I didn't have that rough patch, I probably wouldn't have become the world champion. So I think in the failures are, they teach you lessons which nothing else can. So
But
yeah.
how do you deal with those failures? What are those things that you do at that time? What are those, you wake up early at 6 a.m., that's all our parents tell, subah jaldi uthe to dekho, right? So what do you do? What are the actionable points?
Like for example, I mean, when you fail, you look back on that without any guilt or regret. You just look back at it from an objective point of view, and then you try to draw the lessons. Because if you lose a game, it's not because it just happened. You made some mistakes, and mistakes are not avoidable, but you can try to make them less. So the, for example, when I was doing all this mistakes, I mean, in this rough patch, I realized I was not being objective. I was being overconfident because, I mean, uh, I had a very good run before the final moments where I was about to qualify, and then I got overconfident. I was being careless. I was not taking objective decisions, and then it was a huge lesson which still stays with me, that like no matter what happened in the previous game, no matter how well you played in the previous game or how badly you played, what matters is that you go to the board and you make the best move from an objective point of view. So no matter who you are, only if you make good moves you can win. So that was something which, like, I tell myself to keep myself like grounded and not get ahead of myself. That is one. That is one lesson that that I have drawn from failures. But obviously, for each person, the lesson will be different. And just to look at it from an objective point of view and try to draw from it is I think the best way to go.
Okay.
You know, learning how to deal with failure, to my mind, is as important as dealing with success. All of you are here have obviously done something right, which is why you've been chosen to be here. So this can count as a successful milestone in your lives, right? But as you build businesses, as you create new projects, as you work on different things, there will inevitably be things that go wrong. And a lot of people like yourselves who are sitting here who are successful don't know how to deal with failure. So the first thing I say is just acknowledge the reality that as you grow in life and do different things, there will be things which don't go right, which don't happen the way that you want, and you will have failure. It could be a big failure, it could be a small failure, but you will have setbacks. Learning how to deal with those is very crucial. I think we should celebrate and acknowledge failure. The problem is, in India, typically, society is engineered and DNA'd in a way that somebody who fails, if a startup goes bust or you try something, it doesn't happen, people mock or laugh at, what went wrong. The reverse should be true. If somebody's got something wrong, they try to build a business, it didn't happen, he's actually learned more in that process, which equips him for his next inning. Something going wrong teaches you so much, teaches you as much as something going right. Because if it goes right, it could just be being at the right place at the right time. It could be a fluke. Something going wrong has taught you a very real lesson. And here I just want to cite something that, the late Arun Jaitley ji told us. When things go wrong, or you're not having good patch in your career, in your business, people start speaking against the system, right? They get very bitter. If in a political context, if things are not going well, you start publicly speaking against the party or the system that you're a part of. And Jaitley ji said, and it stayed with me for a long time, that that's amongst the worst things you can do. Because the fact that something has gone wrong for you at this moment, something you want is not happening, is only known to you and to the few people who could give it to you, right? Nobody else knows about it. The more bitter you get, the more you start talking, the more you communicate to everybody else that something is wrong, ki iski wicket abhi kharab hai, iska nahi time acha chal raha, whatever. The more it comes into limelight. The more you just keep your head down and let the storm pass. The storm will pass and you can recover. I mean, take someone like a Parvesh Verma from the last couple of months. His Lok Sabha ticket got cancelled, right? That's at some level failure because he wasn't deemed good enough to get the ticket again. A few months later, he was told that he has to fight against Arvind Kejriwal. Now, if he at that time got bitter and started speaking against the system, he would not have had the opportunity. So like there is failure, if you just put your head down, start trying to improve yourself, success will come. You don't know why that ticket was taken away. You don't know why you were chosen to fight against Kejriwal, but it is part of the cycle of life. So don't get bitter, don't start speaking against the people you work with, because then failure can be a self-fulfilling prophecy. You do something, something goes wrong, you make the wrong moves, you get bitter, and it kind of takes you down. You know, if something goes wrong and you keep your head, from there you can recover and bounce back very quickly. So I think learning how to deal with failure is almost as important as not getting carried away when you succeed.
So learning and just, I think observing yourself during the time of failure also helps a lot. That's what tells you what not to do in the future, right? Coming to the aspect of leadership again, right? And especially when you're dealing with a team, right? And you're not alone. So in a team, and I think this question is pointed more to you, Rahulji. In a team, you have people with very different mindsets and very different belief systems. How do you make sure as the leader that all of you work as a unit, that is one, and all of you work towards the same goal and achievement of that particular goal?
You know, I want to quote to you what, there was this big fight going on between Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, and there was a lot of ego and showmanship. So I asked somebody, and I won't name him, but basically I asked somebody, "Inka to jhamela chal raha hai, how do you deal with it? Like, how do you keep this under control, this showmanship?" You know, he said something very important. He was one of the most important coaches we've had. He said that they walk into the cricket field with different objectives, right? They're coming from different worldviews. Some corporates are backing this guy, some corporates are backing this guy, one IPL franchise. So there's a lot of money and there's a lot of vanity at stake. But the most important thing is that when the cricket ball goes up in the air and it's going towards long on and you're standing below and trying to catch it, do both those cricketers want the same thing, which is that that catch should be caught and that India should win the match. So the point that I'm trying to make is, don't look for people who look like yourself or act like yourself or think like yourself or talk like yourself when you're building teams. Having diversity is very crucial. The ability to work with different kinds of people. For example, when I was on campus at the Harvard Business School, it was a very big learning experience initially, because our cohort, it's called a living group of 8 people, had people from Jordan, people from Saudi Arabia, people from Japan, people from Africa, people from Europe, and each country and each nationality has their own value system, their own style of working. Somebody can only work if he's drinking wine, somebody wants to have a cigar, somebody wants to stay till late, somebody wants to start at 6 in the morning, somebody says, nahi, raat mein khatam karo, sona hai, subah nahi utenge. Each country has a different style. Now, how do you bring all those people together and work with them? That is very crucial. So what happens is, people when they're building teams typically make the mistake of finding people like themselves. You know, those teams are very incestuous and inward looking. The more diversity you have in your teams, the more different perspectives you have. And as leaders, having people who challenge you, getting on board people who are smarter than you, who can push you, because it's called the hippo phenomena, right? The highest paid person's opinion. And people like to think if they're the leader, if they're the boss, then everybody else should be subordinate to them. You don't want to hire smarter people. That's the worst thing you can do. The best thing you can do, and if you look at leadership across, the best thing you can do is find people smarter than you and make them a part of your team. If you think that they will stand up because you say stand up and sit down because you say sit down, they may not. Because they're smart people, they'll have a mind of their own. The ability to work with them. For example, in our newsroom, we have Sudhir Chaudhary, right, who's as right of center as right of center can be, and we have Rajdeep, who's kind of left of center. So how do you take everyone along? Because if you want to start fighting, you can fight every day. How do you traverse a cross-section of different kinds? I gave the example of political opinion, but it's the same in business. Somebody can be very conservative, somebody can be a big risk taker. How do you take them along in terms of decision making? That is the ultimate litmus test of leadership. You know, and I have this one instance which I saw with my own eyes, and since the PM was here and I saw the kind of commitment he had towards what he was doing, because this SOUL project is really one of his pet ideas, right? And he sat and he listened. Hasmukh Saab showed him the whole project. I saw him in New York. He was doing yoga, right? This is at 7 in the morning. This is the first International Yoga Day. And he was doing yoga so seriously. He was sweating. Now, this is basically International Yoga Day, so it's just like a exhibition, right? It's not your actual exercise which you would do in the morning when you take it seriously. And everybody around him, Richard Gere was there, others were there, and a lot of young kids in his team were there. They were all doing yoga upar upar se, thoda thoda aise 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 aise. The PM was doing it so seriously. He was sweating. I was standing next to him. You know, he had sweat coming out of his shirt, his face. He was doing it very seriously. There is a lesson there. Take everything that you do seriously and do the best that you can. A lot of people just kind of want to tick a box and get away, right? I came here, I did some session, I went away. That I think is the wrong approach. If you came here, I hope that of all the people that you hear, and if I say 10 things, there's something that stays with you, which you take back with you, right? That is important. I think you saw that from the Prime Minister when he came. Look at the amount of effort he made in bringing that speech together, right? There's a lot of effort that came across. That's the effort that they make. And if, despite how busy he is, he can make that effort, I think there's a lesson for a lot of young people. Even when you take an exam, sometimes you take an exam, you say, so let me just do the best I can. I don't have to ace it, right? The other approach is, I want to give this exam the best that I can. I want to give it as much, I mean, I may not get 100 marks, but I want to give it as much I can. I think that is a great lesson, that you try to do the best you can in every circumstance.
Thank you so much. So now moving on towards a bit of more lighter note, let's have a small rapid fire round. Would that be okay? Yes. I can't hear you. Yes. I still can't hear you. Yes. Oh, I heard you. Okay. So Gukesh, we'll start with you. Okay. What is that one everyday thing you are surprisingly bad at?
Waking up on time.
Okay. What's scarier? A tough end game or a public speaking gig?
Probably public speaking.
Okay. If you could steal one skill from any chess legend or a grandmaster, who and what would it be?
Magnus's endgame skills.
Okay. Okay, what is your go-to hype song before any big game or a tournament?
Before games, I don't listen much, but in general, I like some Ed Sheeran songs.
Ed Sheeran? Okay.
Or Arjit Singh. Yeah, depends on my mood.
Okay, this is very diverse, I mean.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So, chess, is it an art, science, or is it pure mind games?
I think it's mostly a sport nowadays because the playing field, I mean, everyone has the same materials and the playing level is very level. So, it's mostly a sport, I would say.
Okay. And finally, if not chess, or if you were not in chess, what would you have done? Which career path would you have chosen?
Probably some sport. I like some racket sports, but okay, I haven't thought about it seriously at all. So.
Oh, thank God. I thought you were going to say doctor or something like
No.
engineer.
Both my parents are doctors, so I don't think I would have.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. So, yes, Rahulji, coming to you. So, you ask very hard questions to a lot of people for a living, right? You keep asking them these questions, and I see them sweat sometimes on television as well. What's the one question you hope no one ever asks you?
You know, can you sing a song or can you dance? So I was doing this interview with Kriti Sanon, right? The Bollywood star. So we had an interaction, everything's going well. And then there was this one occasion where she was going to dance. So she, you know, said, you dance with me. I said, nahi, main nahi kar sakta. It is impossible. So it freaks me out. I mean, in any case, if the lights are dim and it's in the evening, I still have difficulty dancing. I have 2 left feet, 3 left feet. 2 you can see and 1 you can't, right? But it trips me over all the time. But that freaks me out. कि कोई बोल दे कि गाना गा दो या कोई बोल दे कि dance कर लो, it spooks me like terribly, unfortunately.
Okay. If you could swap lives with one of your interviewee for a day, who would that be and why?
You know, I think Amit Shah, and I'll tell you why. Because his mind works so fast and in so many different ways. नहीं, पर आपने सुना ही नहीं मैं क्यों बोल रहा हूँ. You know, so we went to Karnataka in this one constituency where the BJP was going to lose. Okay, it was clear as day to a blind person also that they were going to lose. He spent so much time and energy in that seat, and I'm thinking, ये हार रहे इतना यहाँ पे इतना tight fight है, इतना effort क्यों कर रहे हैं? I later asked him. He says no. 3 elections later, अगले election में ऐसे होगा. उसके बाद JDS यहाँ पे क्रम्बल कर जाएगी. उसके बाद ये आदमी जो तुमने देखा ना, जो तीसरी रो में खड़ा था, उस आदमी को मैं टिकट दूंगा, वो लड़ेगा, और फिर हम यहाँ पे तीसरे इलेक्शन में जीतेंगे. I think the only other people who think like that are the Chinese. If you read Chinese thought, they're thinking 15, 20, 25, 30 years ahead, right? In India, strategic thought is usually just from one quarter to quarter in business and one election to the next in politics. The fact that he's thinking 3 elections ahead when I don't even know what the hell I will be doing is just something I find remarkable. So I want to see what's actually going on inside that brain, yeah.
Well, speaking about Chinese, our own Gukesh just beat one of them at the at the strategic game with being moves ahead. So thank you so much. And yes, the next question to you would be, if you could cover any historical event, live, historical, which one would it be?
I don't know how anybody would feel about it. It's a very, it's a very evocative thing and provocative from different perspectives, but the demolition of the Babri Masjid. Now, the reason I say that is because so much changed on that day, and in good ways, in bad ways, in terrible ways. Just, I think, having a ringside account to those developments would have been quite remarkable. I'm not in any way justifying what happened. That's not the idea. I'm just saying, you said what would be just incredible to see happen in front of you as a reporter, as a storyteller, and since it shaped Indian politics and society for decades after that, that would have been quite the moment to just see unfold in terms of what actually happened at that time.
And finally, the last question, what is your favorite song, and please sing it for us.
ये moderator अच्छा है, हाँ? लगता थोड़ा सा मासूम type का. There's no way I can sing. When I was in class 5,
Sir, public's demand, sir.
It's impossible. I can leave, I can apologize, I can say, Hasmukhji, I'm really sorry, I need to run. I was in a choir, and I was such a bad singer that they asked me, "Aap aise aise muh hilao, gana nahi." So they basically told me, don't sing. So since then I've been scarred. I would never do this. But I have something which I hope to leave you with before we end, right? And this is based on years of going to places like the Davos World Economic Forum, or going to the India Today Conclave, and all of you being here at this SOUL Leadership event, which is, how do you maximize your presence here, right? Now, there's so many people who've come here. What is the one lesson or tip that you can keep about ensuring that you've used your time here best, right? And I think that is to do with cultivating a good network. And a lot of people learn finance, they learn leadership, they learn accounting in college. They don't learn about how to build networks and connections. And that, I think, is the most important thing which really should be taught in business school. And I hope that at some point in time at an institute like SOUL, because see, a lot of people are taking selfies, coming in. Those are very superficial and inconsequential. How can you build real connections with 3 kinds of people, right? People who are at your level, so all the youth delegates who are sitting here, how many people can you make lifelong connections with? One is, okay, साथ में photo खींच लिया, खाना खा लिया, खाना, and then that's the end of it. How many people can build a connection with somebody sitting in this room right now, a connection which lasts them forever? If you're, for example, from Ahmedabad, you go to Kolkata, can you find somebody here who you've bonded with and connected with in a very deep way, who becomes your contact in Kolkata forever? And I think the mistake that people make there is they start thinking of networking as a way of going up the career ladder, or networking as a bad thing which lobbyists do. It's not. How do you make real, genuine connections? So one is with peers like yourself. The other is with people above you. For example, those like Sudhir Bhai and the others sitting in the front row. How can you connect with him in a way that he says, okay, when you come to Ahmedabad, come see my facility, or come have a cup of tea, or see what we're doing. Do you have the ability to build that connection? What does it take? And the only way to do that is by being genuine. If you try and be somebody you are not, it's never going to work. If you are your genuine self and you're able to connect, like some people you'll see in a superficial way getting invited to all the big parties, right? And some people don't, and the ones who don't wonder, usko kaise bulaya mujhe? That's just one way. The other is that if somebody is looking to fund or finance somebody's business, some people are being able to make it happen, and some people may have the idea but not find the funding. what is it that they're doing right and what is it that it is the power of developing a healthy network. And I think reading about that, working on that constantly is the biggest investment that you can make in yourself. Learning about finance, accountancy, etc. is all important. Learning about how to build a genuine network that can come to your aid and can help you move faster in life is a very important life skill. That all of you will see as you go in life. Some people from here will grow really fast and make a very big name for themselves, and some people may appear bright to you right now but may not grow as much. And as you evaluate why one person got ahead and the other didn't, oftentimes you'll find it's the network that they were able to build for themselves which separates those who are good and get ahead and those who are very good but don't get ahead. Because you don't win in life, you don't succeed in life because you are good. You win or you succeed in life because there are people around you who want to help you win and succeed. Till you are able to build those connections, that genuine network where you have people's goodwill and they want you to win and succeed, you won't be. So as you work on yourself in terms of financial skills or economic skills or whatever skills you're developing, work also on the softer aspect of building genuine connections and networks amongst the delegates and amongst people who are both below you and above you. Make the effort of trying to teach what you've learned to people below you. You will earn their goodwill and their, their respect, which will be the most invaluable thing that you can take, because you got people who are cheering for you, they've got goodwill in their heart. When you go out and do well, they want you to succeed. That doesn't seem like money, but to my mind, it's more valuable than money.
So, one last question. Which is your favorite song?
I am actually blind to all songs. I was a bit of a geek growing up, so I used to read a lot of books. And my father's an author. He used to write books on national defense strategy, security, nuclear architecture and stuff. So growing up, I was reading that kind of stuff. When it comes to movies, and there's some movie people are referencing, I'm blank. I have no idea because I haven't, I honestly haven't seen. But they're like, but how could you not have seen this movie? I said, nahi dekhi, main kya kar, so when it's music or songs or movies, unfortunately, I'm really, really bad. The worst thing I can do is to pretend that I know because I don't. And I think if you don't know, you should say nahi aata. Har cheez ko dance bhi karna hai, gana bhi gana nahi aata. Jo nahi aata, bolna chahiye ki nahi aata.
So thank you so much for answering these questions very honestly and teaching us a lot through this panel. And I think we've come to the end of it. And I would like to thank all the audience as well for being really, really good.
Jatin,
We
we can allow 2 questions from the audience to Gukesh, because Sir is always on the screen answering the best of the best questions. So to Gukesh, though public speaking is not a good move for him.
We're putting Gukesh on a couple
Just
of
2
spots.
questions, one from this side, one from here. Okay, lady, we go with you first. Yes. No, you had an opportunity in the morning, so can we pass?
Hi, my name is Anshul Thakur and I am from Devbhumi, Himachal. My question is for D. Gukesh. So my question is, do you have any specific routines or habits that help you stay focused? How do you overcome moments of self-doubt or frustration?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, because routines is something that any sports person pays a lot of attention to. I mean, I can talk about sports person. I don't know about other fields, but I do have some routines before a game or before a tournament that I try to follow no matter how I'm playing or how I'm feeling, because when you have less things to think about, like when you do something in the morning, evening, night, you don't think about those things. You have more space in your mind to think about chess. I mean, in my case, chess. So I think routines are very important, and I just follow some basic routines before going to sleep, some relaxation activities, when I wake up, some meditation, stuff like that. And I feel even before the game, once I go and sit on the board, I follow some routines so that my mind, that is the best way I found to get into the zone. And I try to be as specific with my routines as possible.
Thank you.
Okay, just one from here. Yes, gentlemen. You got a chance in the morning? No? Are you sure? Okay. Go ahead with the...
Hello, Rahul sir. So,
Hello.
listening to you has been so delightful. Communication is an intrinsic part of leadership. Can you tell me something how I can work on my communication? Because like I was trying to break down what I can learn from you, and there's just so much, whether it's anecdotes, being quick. I was really loving every part of what you said. So how can we build our communication? And Rahul sir.
I said ask Gukesh, please.
Oh yes, to sir, Gukesh sir. And how do you deal with this?
Can we ask him? Yeah, please.
सो गुड आफ्टरनून सर, मेरा नाम अद्वित रंजन है और मैं बिहार से हूँ. सो सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है, मैंने सर आपका वीडियो देखा है कि आपने बहुत ही कम एज में ये कमिटमेंट कर दिया था कि मुझे यंगेस्ट वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप बनना है, और आप बन के दिखाया सर. तो वो मोटिवेशन आपने वहाँ से लेकर यहाँ तक उस मोटिवेशन को मेंटेन कैसे किया सर, ये मेरा क्वेश्चन है सर.
Yeah, that has become a very famous video. I mean, I just said it as a innocent kid, but yeah, like from the time I started playing chess, like I watched Vishy sir versus Magnus match in Chennai in 2013, and I saw Vishy sir losing the title, and I just thought to myself like I want to bring the trophy home, and the youngest world champion. I don't know how the idea came or where it came from, but yeah, since I started playing, it was just something very special to my heart, and I was putting a lot of effort into it, and I think that was the objective from my childhood, and that was what I was working for. That was what I thought about before going to sleep when I woke up. So yeah, I could say my whole life was filled, I mean, to become the youngest world champion. And now, like in the last couple of years, becoming the world champion doesn't really mean that I'm the best player in the world, because Magnus decided to quit the cycle and stuff like that. So it's also positive in a way that I have kind of achieved my childhood dream, but also there's a lot more to look forward to, a lot more to wake up to. So, yeah.
This is exactly what our Honorable Union Minister Sir said, that focus on one thing, and that what he had done in the young age. Hope you got the answer. Okay? Can we have a huge round of applause for all the chat that happened over here and the knowledge they shared with you all?